and welcome to Alf Zoo, a webcast about IT in a modern world. Today I have my good friend Mike from ConAgra with me. He's an ITSM architect there. He's not only a foodie, but a food IT expert, and he will talk a little about his company's migration from land to sky. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Alf. How are you?
I'm
Awesome.
great. I'm great. Something that people don't really know about food industry is that it's very IT intense. There is a huge system in place to make sure the perishable foods that stays fresh, that food comes and goes in a way that it should. Tell us a little bit about what ConAgra looks like.
So really, there's multiple IT systems. There's the back office system that houses the day-to-day operations for IT in general. But really, where we make our money is out at the manufacturing sites that make the food, that assemble the components into the products that we sell, that put those into warehouses in regional areas throughout the United States so that they'll be available for shipping to the retailers like the Walmarts and the Krogers when they need that product, as opposed to just storing it, because they have limited warehouse space as well. So our IT systems really create that delicate dance of who needs what and when they need it, and that moves all the way back through the supply chain, back to the people that actually purchase the raw ingredients. So our IT, without our IT systems, we could probably manufacture for maybe 24 to 36 hours with the product that we have on site. But beyond that, we would be in big trouble.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. Well, with these type of on-demand supply chains, IT is such a key ingredient. So recently, you took your ITSM world, took it off-premise, and decided to go with a cloud installation. And this
Yes,
is really
we did.
and this is something that a lot of people are either doing or pondering, have nightmares about, looking forward to. Tell us a little bit about why. And then I want to hear a little bit about the challenges you had as well. But
Well,
let's start with why.
Yeah, that's a great question. So some of the things that we faced early on were with our in-prem system is we, at that time, thought we knew more than the vendor, and created a lot of customizations to try and mirror its capabilities with what we thought were our processes. We got to a point early on, well, not early on, but towards that middle of that journey, where we started realizing that some of the things we did really backed us into a corner from feature and functionality of the tool. So we got to the point where some of those synergies that should be natural were not natural for us anymore, for that very reason. We really backed ourselves into a corner that way. So one of the things we wanted to do was look for a mechanism where we could get kind of a fresh start. Naturally, as a food company, we want to focus and concentrate on food as well, more than IT systems, even though they're essential to our overall makeup. So if we could find a way to do more using tools that are out of the box, lowering our customizations, we figured we could reduce some headcount as far as supporting those systems, as well as trying to use those out of the box as much as possible, begin to realize a lot of the connections that the suite of tool set makes for us, and really start to realize the benefits of BSM and ITSM and all of those great buzzwords that we hear. But for us, they're more than buzzwords now. Now they're really the mechanism that we're going to use to move IT forward with the business.
Well, I think you touched on a good point, is that some of this is marketing high. Trust me, I know. But there's also a lot to be gained there. In any of these type of projects, large like this and ambitious like this, there's always hiccups. So what are the lessons you learned? What are the things that you wish that you would have done differently if you would do it again, when you switch from on-land to cloud-based solutions?
So I don't think organizationally we were ready to give up the control of the application that we had. I mean, one of the biggest problems we had was we had so much control of the application that we made some modifications to it which were not really beneficial. But just not being able to make enhancements or changes to the environment that we feel we want to make. You're beholden to a higher power with your designs now. You can't just be sloppy, and not that we were ever sloppy. Don't get me wrong, but now we have other standards that we have to adhere to. Getting rid of the customizations was huge for us, but the customizations that we did want to move forward regarding the people stuff and some of the organizational stuff, it was not an easy road for us, and I think it was just because we weren't prepared for the level of engagement necessary to get all that stuff put together up front, and then explain it, why we wanted to do that, and then execute. So I think those were a couple of the challenges that we faced. Also, getting our foundation data in at first. We were fortunately a mature enough company where we could get that baseline set in, but really the speed at which we wanted to run didn't give us a lot of opportunity to step back and really determine if all the data that we wanted to put in was necessary.
It's always hard to know the scope before you actually have it in place a lot of times.
Absolutely, and this is new for ConAgra, the company I work for, because really we haven't really delved too far into SaaS. Now, some of our HR offerings, with medical and those kinds of things, they've been somewhat SaaS, I guess you could call it, for a couple of years. At least our provider, offers a web portal, and then you just go and you consume those offerings. But this is the first time we've ever taken an in-house application, picked it up, thrown it out to the cloud, and then told our users that this is the way it's going to go. And so far, I think things have been pretty positive.
I want to ask about that. What's the response been? Have any of these ROI benefits come true? I know it's easy to say subscription on the CapEx versus OpEx, but after a few years that averages out. So are there any more tangible, any hard benefits that your organization reaped from going to the cloud?
So we eliminated 4 FTEs, full-time employees, that were supporting the customizations and the daily operations of our environment, and we really were able to push all of that off to the cloud, and instead of hiring people, now we're signing SLAs. Right, so for us, that's a huge jump in the right direction, because again, we're trying to stay a food manufacturer and trying to get out of some of that day-to-day IT operations stuff. As we become more and more reliant on those systems, it requires more and more skill, in-house skill, administrator skill, server skill, and we just don't think that that's the right direction for us anymore. Our user base is completely enamored with the new processes, because those processes are out-of-the-box processes, right? We've reorganized a little bit around change managers, what their roles actually are. We have a CAB that's now very change-oriented, and we've taken a lot of that higher level of leadership and kicked them out of the meeting. And now it's down to that level where the people who know the systems can make the decisions and determinations whether a change is approved or not.
And how long did it take you to go from just getting the stuff up and running to actually start to see some of these benefits?
We saw some of those benefits the first day, right? We went live on a Monday, and by that first CAB on Thursday, a lot of the changes that we would have to agonize over, or at least listen to for 45 minutes, were now part of a standard change methodology, where they didn't even need to show up at the CAB. And the things that we did need to talk about were some pretty, serious changes that had a broad and wide impact. Also, there were I would guess dozens of people who no longer needed to attend the CAB because their needs were taken care of outside of the CAB. So the CAB wasn't an informational meeting anymore. Now it's just a decision meeting. All the things you need to do, all the check boxes and the approvals that you needed are happening in the tool before the CAB instead of at the CAB.
So the whole workforce within the IT organization became more focused on what you're supposed to do rather than running around and taking care of the periphery.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Well, Mike, I really want to thank you for coming to my show and to share with the zoo these quite honest remarks and experiences you've had. Next week, Rob Otto will join us, and he will talk about mobility, How can mobility help your IT organization? How can it fit into what you want to do when there's so much demand that you know what to do with yourself? And where's mobility going? Where's the next thing there? Until then, take care, stay safe.